until one day, my uncle who still lived at home, he stayed Catholic. And he says, Mija, do you want to go with me to church? And I said, okay. We walked. Sorry, I still get emotional.
Oh.
I was probably about 7. We walked into Immaculate Conception Catholic Church on Harrisburg. And he wanted to go early and they were praying the Rosary. I'd never heard the Rosary prayed. And it was this beautiful peace that was so enveloping. I am now, I'm going to be 59 in a couple of weeks.
How old were you when that happened?
I was 7.
And you can still remember it that well. I could still
remember it that well.
That's how moving it was, huh?
Yes. And so then I sat there and I listened and I learned the Hail Mary in that moment. Because, when you're a kid, your brain is just like, absorbs everything.
Yeah, you're a sponge.
And so then my grandmother, she would go to church on Wednesday. She goes, get ready. We're going to go to church. And I was like, I don't want to go. And she goes, why not? I said, I want to go to church with my Uncle Baba Lee. And she says, no, you're going to get ready and go with us to church. And so I continued with the practice. But my faith was Catholic. And I knew that. So when I finished the elementary school back then was kindergarten to 6th grade. 7th grade to 9th grade was junior high. And then 10th grade to senior year was high school. So that was the structure. So when I finished the elementary school period, all of my friends, we were all honor roll kids. And so we were going to go to the next feeder school, which was the junior high. And they said, you're not going to go to the junior high. You're going to go to a Catholic school.
Who made that decision?
My grandparents.
Is it because they saw that you really wanted to?
No.
Or they just wanted you in a private school?
They just wanted me in a private school.
Okay.
They thought the school was going to be a bad school. The funny thing is that all of my friends are all attorneys. So, and one of them works for the Archdiocese. But anyhow, so then that was, it was kind of an interesting experience because I'm going into the school at the 7th grade. So then that is grammar school. So it goes to 8th grade. And so then I had the 2 years there. And in those 2 years, I got to be Catholic. And so then I went to Incarnate Word for a year and then went to public school thereafter. But then I started going to Immaculate Heart of Mary with my friends we were in high school together. And, and then it just became part of who I was. So
that experience solidified it. Yes. You had that seed from that rosary and that was just that one time.
Yeah.
And then finally, that was it.
That was it.
It was permanent.
It was permanent. It became permanent. And so then, I was Catholic.
Did you have any resistance from your grandparents?
No, they didn't. They didn't resist. They continued with their faith. They'd turn on Billy Graham and we had all of that. And they'd host Bible studies in our home. And so it still gave me this layered Christian heritage.
Yes, because you see different sides of.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so what am I going to do with this? And so I was Catholic, but I still had I have Baptist in me, I have Pentecost in me, I have those church hymns in me, I have all of that. But then the Holy Spirit is so incredibly rich in the faith that I get to practice today that when I tell people, it's kind of, and then I get to work it with Faith in Action at Catholic Charities. So it resonates everywhere.